What are peptides? Everybody is taking them. Why should I? What are some of the core pieces of evidence that psilocybin is a medicine? How was Uncle Creepy born and where did he die?
So, that's a stupid nickname. Momentum I had and talent that I had, I should be looked at as one of the greatest fighters of all time. But I'm looked at as one of the biggest investment busts the UFC's ever made.
What's your goal?
To have a funnel of athletes coming through, whether it's ibogaine, ayahuasca, or mushrooms. I mean, out of the most healing, I would like them to do all three.
So can we go over what each one of those does specifically, and if they're like legal, how do you like get to them?
It's basically been decriminalized in the country. All the cops are taking mushrooms now.
Really?
Oh yeah, finally. The military's been doing it forever.
Yeah.
People in three-letter agencies have told me the war on drugs is over. As long as you're not selling pills or cocaine, heroin, meth, then they're not gonna mess with you.
Why are there negative connotations on psychedelics?
Operation MK Ultra, where our government took the compounds like LSD, for instance, from Nazi Germany. They had a program to test drugs on people in concentration camps or prisoners of war, whatever it was they were doing, because they were trying to control the mind. We beat Germany and we absorbed the Nazis as a country. We brought them in for our space program. We also took on that, it turned into Operation MK Ultra, mind control that we were trying to do with the CIA.
Opioids, the things that doctors prescribed you, arguably ruined your career. Are you researching alternative medicine because doctors are giving us poison?
When I was 14, I got addicted to pills. And I was addicted for 20 years. I died of a drug overdose when I was 27. The big thing is they're trying to keep you sick and keep you in a petroleum-based medical model that was pushed by the Rockefellers.
I've always wanted to be considered the best at something. I think of you having that belt wrapped around your waist. I've always kind of been like close to last pick in most sports. I kind of looked over and like in a sentence, could you explain how you become the best? I don't want it all to just be pointless. I don't want to end in like a drug craze. I don't want to end in like some
I did for a long time. I was trying to kill myself those ways. When fentanyl doesn't get me high enough, sounds crazy, but if you're a fentanyl addict, you can get there, you can do it enough. I couldn't kill myself because of my daughter. I knew if she could heal, I could heal. Yes, I have more damage in my body, but biologically we're the same. Like I'm not too far gone. I can figure it out. Just using food and supplements did a good enough job to fix my kid. Was my first case study of healing a human, and it worked really well.
Here's one of the things that I think this society is so drenched in, and it's part of the reason why God is so quiet in the USA, is because if you're following my show, the algorithm will actually deliver the best episodes from this show very prominently on your feed. And to put it very simply, I would love for you to know about them. So the safest way to make sure that happens is to hit that follow button. And on top of that, it's also the simplest, easiest, and completely free thing you can do to help me make this show better. I would hugely be grateful if you took a moment on whatever app you're listening to this on to hit that follow button.
This brings back memories. There we go. Optox.
Optox.
Cheers.
Cheers. Pocari Sweat. When was the last time you had one of these?
Japan. Man, almost a decade ago. This makes me really happy you brought this back.
Yeah.
This is just like a memory. I had terrible results in Japan as a fighter. I had terrible results at the last half of my career. After I won a world title, my life went to shit. This was some of my worst results.
Pocari?
Well, no, just being in Japan fighting. The last two fights were ridiculous. But I have such fond memories of Japan in general because of the culture. I'm covered in Japanese tattoos. My family owned a Toyota dealership growing up, so I was always around Japanese culture. My dad, taught me a lot about samurais. Had me, read, the Book of Five Rings, Art of War. Like I had a very Asian-centric, and with martial arts my whole life, childhood.
Yeah.
So, it's just these random things, like a random bottle or can of Bacardi Sweat just makes me happy.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, please sponsor us. Dude, when I went to Japan, like the one time I've been, I went there.
What was this?
I think it was summer of 2025. So like last year, actually a year ago today, I was in Japan. Nice. And it was like right after my birthday. And we went up there and I had $2,000. That's all I had for the flight, for everything. And I did 2 weeks out there. Just doing as light as I could. Okay. Yeah. And it was me, 2 other friends, and we just went on Airbnb, sorted by lowest price, stayed there. And there was like situations where we'd be like on a triple bunk bed, you know, and we're like literally like sniffing each other the whole like trip, and it tested our friendship. But like, there's something about just getting like in those situations.
Yeah.
I mean, I know I would miss if I was like rich or famous or whatever. Like I'd definitely miss like being like the struggle, I guess. I don't know.
The struggle is the most important part.
Yeah.
You know? And that's what galvanizes us into the people we become. That's the point of life, is to go through struggle, is to suffer. Yeah. Look at the four noble truths in Buddhism. You know, look at the life of Jesus Christ. Like, life's about suffering. Yeah. You know, like when did he reach his peak? Is through, you know, his end of life suffering. Yeah. And you realize that, like, sure, he did that for us, but in general, humans need to go through something like everyday tasks and trauma and the suffering of making money and, you know, sometimes not having food, or what are the things that will drive you to be better. You know, obviously there's a different form of suffering and trauma that makes us work harder. So it's kind of weird, because if you look at it that way, the bad things that happen to us, trauma only comes in a few flavors. You know, who abandoned me, who, you know, physically, sexually touched me, or you know, beat me up. Yeah. Or emotionally abused me. And what else is there? I don't think I'm missing anything. So you have a handful of things. You got a few, yeah. And we all have at least one of them. Yeah. Some of us have all of them. Yeah. Most of my friends have all of those things done wrong to them. I'm lucky I don't. Nobody touched me, but yeah. I got a bunch of other shit, and those things, that suffering, pressurizes you into a diamond. Yeah. Or it can be a burst pipe. That's up to you. That's your choice. I kind of like ask myself sometimes, like, when did it come to like a period in our like life where it was like, it's not cool to be honest. It's not cool to be truthful about like trauma. Because like if I were to go in middle school or, you know, whatever, and say like, you know, I'm suffering through this, and that, like, people would make fun of me and they'd react in like a certain type of way. Or if I'm going to go out into like the world and say all of my weaknesses and the things that have hurt me, people would ultimately probably use that against me to be able to attack me. What point did like where did that come from? Why is dishonesty so like valuable? And I think been around for a lot longer than you think. Yeah. Yeah, forever. Because people don't want to share their business. Like my parents' generation, they lied to us about everything. Yeah. You know, simple shit like, don't leave the light on in the car while we're driving. I'll get arrested. You know, like, what? You look it up on your phone. You're like, no, it's not a law. And like all of us in the car, my daughter did that. It's not a law. And we all looked and we're like, don't pierce your ears or you'll turn gay or something. We were lied to this whole time. And it's from simple things to that to like anything else about life. They lied to us about. But it comes from the top. It comes from the parents, or it comes from the organizations, the doctors, the government. Everyone lied to us. Yeah. And it's still a huge thing in human relations. I'm dealing with it now in the peptide industry. Everyone's full of shit. And it's just like that's deep in the context of who we are as humans, as creatures, is to lie to get what we want, you know. So you got to look at it from a different perspective, because you coming out also as oh, I'm traumatized, I need help, or I want to talk about it. That's new. That's very new. So people are not used to it yet. No, and definitely not. It's coming around because a lot more of us are doing it, but you're still in a very niche thing. How was Uncle Creepy born, and where did he die? So, that's a stupid nickname. I never took anything serious in my life. Yeah. Ever. Like, I thought everything was a joke. I had gotten out of rehab for the second time. I was there for 6 months. I lived there for a while. And when I left, I was like, I got to go see my friends. So, granted, I was sober during these 2 trips, but the first 2 weekends I was out, I went to Vegas with my boys.
Good little, you know.
Yeah, during the AVNs, the Adult Video Awards.
Yeah.
And we weren't there specifically for that, but it just ended up out there doing it. It was a wild time. But again, stayed sober. Next weekend, I don't know which one was first, but I ended up in San Luis Obispo with my people I went to college with. Chuck Liddell, Antonio Benuelos, these fighters from up there, John Hackelman, that I met when I was like 18, 19 years old. I went back up to there and to see all my friends. And my buddy was in town from Vegas with his kid. And I'm the sober driver. We get home after the bars, 2 a.m. His son is still awake. And I'm like trying to put him to bed. Uncle Ian, let's do this. Uncle Ian, let's do that. Let's, and then all of a sudden he goes, Uncle Creepy. And everybody sat up like out of their drunken stupor at whatever 3 a.m. We're like, that's your nickname, dickhead. Like, that's it. And I was like, okay.
Oh my God.
And I always made fun of nicknames. I thought nicknames were stupid. You can give yourself a nickname. I'm like, come on. But I go to fight. I was, again, fresh out of rehab. I thought my fighting life was over. My coach, when I get home, goes, you want to fight? You need money, right? Yes? Okay, fight Jeff. I already knew Jeff for a long time. I knew I could beat up Jeff. So I'm like, sure, I'll make some money fucking him up. And I, make my comeback. I'm already in shape. So I sign the contract when I get there. You sign all the paperwork. And unbeknownst to me, someone who was there on that same night that I was called that by my friend's son, Cade, was with me. He was like my little brother.
Yeah.
He takes my paperwork over there and then signs Uncle Creepy into the nickname slot, which I always left blank. And I had no idea. So, of course,
bro,
as I'm walking out, I think it was, or it was when I won, I beat Jeff in like a really short amount of time.
Yeah.
A couple minutes. And I think it was either when I was walking out or when they raised my hand. I'm not sure, but they said, Ian, Uncle Creepy McCall. And I laughed, and I didn't think anything of it. But everyone heard. Number one, the whole MMA community who loved me, they knew I was back. And they knew I had a nickname. And I was really big in the underground, like this forum, this chat forum online. And realistically, that same guy who
are you, wait, real quick, are you kind of nerdy?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm a scientist. Yeah,
okay.
I'm a dork.
Yeah.
And I for the chat forum thing?
Yeah.
No. I'm not a computer guy.
Okay.
I am a huge nerd, but I had a buddy that was on there talking for me online, and I probably shouldn't have made this so much my family.
Dude, you got some bad friends.
It was mainly him talking for me, and we devised a plan to just make me famous on this thing. He wanted to chat as me to talk to people, and it just spread like wildfire.
Yeah.
This was MMA was still at its very infancy.
Yeah.
So a lot of it was online. There was huge forums, which I'm sure there still is, but it was such an online thing where if you got into that ecosystem, you could thrive. I was always famous within that ecosystem for being a young prodigy and whatnot, for some other scandalous shit I did, and we just manufactured this thing that we had, this weird vibe and this person, this character that we started to build. The other exploits, the fact I was hanging out with celebrities and the women and the partying and all the things, we just made it look cool.
Yeah.
So I became a superstar outside of the UFC through that, and really made it big. So by the time it got to the UFC, I was already on such a high. They loved the character. They loved the name. I thought it was stupid. And I knew one day it was going to bite me in the ass.
Yeah.
During COVID, I was being pitched as the CEO of a mushroom company out of Canada, and they're growing specialty mushrooms in mass, and we're looking to kind of dive into the psychedelic side of it because things are legal like that in Canada. And they're like, okay, well, board meeting about making you the CEO. Start talking about that stuff, and they go, so we want to talk about your nickname. We can't have someone with that nickname as CEO of our company. And I was like, and I had to explain the whole thing. And it wasn't the only time that people brought it up in business. And I'm like, I've done everything to try and kill that name. And when I finally killed it was when my old agent in comedy, I was trying to be a comedian for a little bit. And more or less, I was trying to get better at public speaking.
Yeah.
I know I had to speak on behalf of the science of psychedelics.
Yeah.
But I'm not the PhD, so I had to take their information, dumb it down, and make it funny.
Yeah.
So then people would be able to like absorb it better.
Yeah.
And
well, you got to be accepted by the psychedelic crowd, and I doubt that they want to hear some bigwig talking with like words like prolific, you know, like they're like all right, what's actually happening?
I just endeared myself to the psychedelic world because I left fighting. I was over it, and became, used my celebrity there, became a trusted person, celebrity within that own little microcosm, and the whole time I was getting into Forbes twice. I was on HBO. I was on the cover of LA Weekly, which is like 16 million copies of my face on it. There's media from all over the planet covered me because I was just able to get in that right momentum for whatever reason. I'm trying to think what year it was. It was a couple of years ago, but my old agent, Lance, I was talking to him one day, and he's like, "Oh, I'm talking to people at Instagram. You need anything?" And I was like, "Oh shit, yeah, I need my name changed." Someone was trying to charge me like 10 grand for that. And I was like, "Man, fuck you."
Yeah.
Me $10,000 to change my name just because you're gonna text your friend at Instagram. I'm like, no, not happening. So I waited and tried a few other ways, and then finally Lance just literally he had just had to ask somebody.
Yeah.
And they changed it for me.
Yeah.
Which was nice. And it was a huge relief because I'm not that person anymore. I'm not really proud of my career in fighting.
Yeah.
And it's not the career. It's the career itself was kind of embarrassing because my record, because of drugs and all that shit, when it tanked. It was terrible. With the amount of momentum I had and talent that I had, I should be looked at as one of the greatest fighters of all time. But I'm looked at as one of the biggest investment busts the UFC's ever made.
Yeah.
They built me a division, and so I'm not stoked on who I was, how I performed. I've made peace with it.
Why do you think God allowed you to go through it?
Back to the suffering. Wasn't my life's mission. I was climbing into a cage and fighting people for blood money, acting out my childhood traumas.
Yeah.
I was just really good at it. I come from a great home. My parents are awesome. My family has a lot of money. I was in private schools and we did all the right things. That doesn't usually nurture a professional fighter psychopath. But it did. And at least I made it.
Well, it's almost miraculous that you went to professional fighting. More so than like most people that get the private school, I've watched some of your podcasts. I do a decent amount of research. Like the opportunities that you had typically don't lead to UFC fighting, but I still think you did a great job with it. Yeah. What I would say is back to like kind of suffering is that life isn't just about suffering. It's about making your suffering like meaningful.
Yeah.
I go through this and I think that it's like a life of pointless suffering leads to like suicide and all these terrible things. And so one of the things that I try to do, which is like my vengeance on like the devil, is I try to go and take whatever I've been through and turn it into something that's edifying, something that's, good for God, good for me, good for other people. And so I think that I'm not trying to preach at you or anything, but like
preach, brother.
What you went through, I see how you now coach young kids, and I see how your nonprofit and the things that you're going through. I think it really shows how much you care about all of this stuff because you really do want to give your suffering meaning.
Yeah.
That's all we ever wanted to do, is like, I don't want it all to just be pointless. I don't want to end in like a drug, craze. I don't want to end in like some like.
I did for a long time. I was trying to.
Yeah.
I was trying to kill myself those ways.
Well, we all do somehow.
And it didn't work. And then by the time I was actually suicidal at the end of my career, when I retired, I was brain damaged. I had addictions. I had, heroin and fentanyl. When those aren't doing it enough, when fentanyl doesn't get me high enough, Sounds crazy, but if you're a fentanyl addict, you can get there. You can do it enough.
Yeah.
I couldn't kill myself because of my daughter. And I kind of looked at the two paths and I said, okay, well, I have two choices. Either I kill myself or I heal. And I know I can heal because my daughter got sick when she was 2 with something called juvenile rheumatoid arthritis. And, you see her now, she's a super athlete and, an incredible human. But at one point she couldn't walk. She couldn't think straight. She had a lot of pain in her legs, fuzziness in her hands.
A lot of trips to chalk.
A lot of trips to chalk.
Yeah.
And they were great, for what it was, but her healing didn't come through them.
Chalk does something to a kid. I was in chalk a lot. I had growth hormone deficiency, and it was like I'd been bullied my whole life for being short, and stuff like that. And I was presented with this opportunity where it was like, if you do shots, you'll be able to grow. And so it was like, this is kind of crazy. This is why I feel like I can relate to UFC fighters, bodybuilders, skateboarders, because I was sitting there and I had needle phobia, and I'd be dragging the needle along my skin, and then I'd put it in and I'd yank it out because it hurt so bad, and then put it in, and then you'd click it and you'd see the dial spin around, and it was 15 seconds, and you're just like sitting there and they're like, all this just to grow. And what it taught me is that the difference between 1 and 10 meant 0, nothing. 1 shot and 10 shots, nothing. It took me 3 years just to catch up to the first person. I was taller than my first person. 5 years into it, what is that? That makes a difference, right? And so what do they tell you insanity is? Doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. But I think that athletes and people that have dealt with illnesses, like your daughter, and honestly, sometimes mental health is an illness, doing the same thing over and over again is how you progress. And they lie to you when they tell you that that's insanity. Or maybe I'm just insane, I feel like sometimes I'm insane,
We're all a little crazy. Nobody sane does anything that fun.
Yeah.
You have to be a little crazy to kind of push the limits and the boundaries of what you're doing in life. And that's what I was always a little crazy.
Yeah.
I'm old enough now and I've done enough work on myself where that's all kind of, I don't want to say put to bed.
Yeah.
Because the twinkle's never going to leave my eye. But I don't have to react or act on the crazy as much because it's counterproductive. I have shit to do.
Yeah.
I've got a nonprofit to run, and I have a peptide company to build, and I have relationships with people that I don't want to fuck up. So
sorry, I interrupted you for a second. You were talking about rheumatoid arthritis and chalk.
Healing. My daughter's healing didn't happen at chalk. They actually kind of laughed me out of the room. And I'm not...
They do wonderful stuff over there, but I
don't want to talk a bunch of shit on chalk because they help a lot of people.
That's a hard position to take, dude.
But they treated me kind of shitty. And I was like, what about cryotherapy? And this is, almost 15 years ago. They were like, they literally laughed in my face. And then after, one doctor, as I'm leaving, goes, hey, man, let me know. And I went... I was like, fuck you, bro. Get out of my face. I was like, I'm buying a cryo machine and you're laughing at me with your friends and they leave. Now you want to talk to me? Man, you're a dork. Beat it. Like, I'm not over this shit. And it was, they put her on methotrexate, chemotherapy drug. They put her on painkillers, anti-inflammatories, all these things to really mess her body up. I took her off because I had strict orders from very smart people that I'm friends with. I know a lot of scientists and doctors or, intelligent people that were like, get her off there, get her on cannabis oil, and make sure she's working out every day. A race car friend of mine, Angela Durazo, she's like, you run her into the ground physically every day. Physical therapy, take her to the park. Ian, make sure she's exhausted every day. And then also... diet and exercise, obviously very anti-inflammatory. On top of that, at night, we would give her high-dose Rick Simpson oil cannabis. And this was before Dr. Sanjay Gupta went on CNN and talked about how cannabis is great for kids and certain times for people in general. I remember my girlfriend at the time looks at me and goes, why aren't we doing this for her? And I was like, I'm already doing it. I'm just not going to tell you. It's like I had to go underground with my science, and I had to learn everything about it because I'm now a scientist. Back then I was just a researcher, I guess you could say, because I used human performance. I used science for human performance. And I just tweaked it a little bit for human healing, and to look into the inflammatory response of things in the body or whatever it may be. So went down the path of healing her, and we made it work as a team, my family. I knew if she could heal, I could heal. Yes, I have more damage in my body, but biologically we're the same. It's not like I'm not too far gone. I can figure it out. And I also had access to peptides when I retired, which was huge. That's what got me off of heroin and fentanyl, actually, symptom-free, which was incredible.
We need to talk about that, but I want to hear the rest of it.
Yeah. I'm building out a program or package for people for rehabs, by the way.
Yeah.
But I went through the peptides and psychedelic microdosing and the food and diet and exercise tweaks that I had to do. And I put everything into it. Luckily, I had the space and time to do that.
Yeah.
Was it hard? Yeah, of course. It was miserable at times, but I'm here. I'm fine. I'm better now. Along the way, I gained as much knowledge as I could and as many teammates as I could within science, within the medical establishment, as much as I'm like to them.
Yeah.
I have to have doctors on my team, and some doctors are great. There's a lot of very good doctors out there. There's just the establishment itself is not okay.
A famous saint said, "Don't mistake the person for the sin that's inside of them." And I think that oftentimes, like, I'll be easily persuaded to demonize one group of people. We see it in our media. Mm-hmm. We see it, I think, like when I look at any of take a look at Charlie Kirk's assassination. You see that that's blood on the media's hands because we're told, all right, hate this person. I'm really at war with the sin in this world right now.
I have 25 PhDs that work with me. Being able to help lead them through the studies, to them, the guy that started it all, that funds it all, that tries to make everything kind of connect together. They're the real scientists. They told me I could call myself a scientist.
Yeah.
Great. They're like, you're leading all of us through science, brother. You're a scientist. You have data. I'm like, I know, but credits, due with these guys and gals. I have the best team in the world. And we work with the best retreat centers in the world.
What's your goal with this nonprofit?
Goal would be to have a funnel of athletes coming through, whether it's ibogaine, ayahuasca, or mushrooms. The ones out of the most healing, I would like them to do all three. But then you're looking at spending, $50,000 per person, basically.
Yeah.
That's maybe not 50, but let's say even it's $30,000 per person to go on each of these. That's a lot. That's a lot.
So can we go over what each one of those does specifically, and if they're like legal, how do you like get to them?
Okay, so no psychedelics are legal in the U.S. for public consumption. That will probably never happen in that straight up legal sense. There's workarounds, and plus it's basically been decriminalized in the country because all the cops are taking mushrooms now.
Really?
Oh yeah, finally, the military's been doing it forever.
Yeah.
Firemen have been doing it for not as long, but the cops, so they were telling on each other. Like I know some very powerful people in the police force, sheriff department, around the country, and they couldn't help each other with it because other cops would tell on them and they would lose everything. And it's just part of their culture, and I guess the type of person that wants to do
It's an honor culture.
The military is just as honorable.
Yeah.
And no one's telling on each other. It's something about that line of work.
Yeah.
The programming they put in there, the archetypal person that wants to be a cop, like it's there. I don't know. I don't want to get into too deep and talk shit on anybody, but it's not a good look. But now they're all into it.
Yeah.
The amount of cops that I get they just had to come around. They did, and now they're coming around, and They're not busting people for it. And sure, if you're like large scale manufacturing or you're doing something stupid, you're breaking the law. You're gonna get in trouble. But giving, or selling a little bit of mushrooms to your friends or something, like no one's getting busted for that. They don't care. They've told me.
Yeah.
People in 3-letter agencies have told me the war on drugs is over. As long as you're not selling pills or cocaine, heroin, meth, like these really strong things, then they're not gonna mess with you.
But like most of that stuff, you'll find yourself getting prescribed in hospitals.
Yeah.
You'll find as long as you're not selling any of the stuff that we prescribe you in hospitals, and
yeah, basically, it's wild.
Why are there negative connotations on psychedelics?
Oh, programming. So it started, with before the war on drugs, Operation MK Ultra, where our government took the compounds like LSD, for instance, from Nazi Germany.
Yeah. Is that where it originated?
Well, it was a Swiss lab, but essentially the Nazi drug campaign, pharmaceutical campaign, they created a wild amount of really good drugs, whether it's Pervitin, which is meth, which is what like Hitler was on.
Yeah, Hitler went
crazy, and methadone, LSD. Like these were all made by German or Nazi type scientists.
Yeah.
That's where the best science was done. And not to say this person had any political leaning or wanted to kill Jews or anything. I'm just saying they were just humans within that ecosystem.
Yeah.
Okay, just doing work, just being normal people.
Yeah.
And they had a program to test drugs on people in concentration camps or prisoners of war, whatever it was they were doing, because they were trying to control the mind. When we beat Germany, beat the Nazis, we beat Germany, and we absorbed the Nazis as a country. We brought them in for our space program. This is all public information. I'm not being a conspiracy theorist. We also took on it turned into Operation MK Ultra, mind control, that we were trying to do with the CIA. And, they saw the effects. They were giving it to soldiers, and they were giving it to people, like Operation Midnight Climax, they were giving it to Johns at a whorehouse in San Francisco.
Really?
A brothel, I should say.
I've heard about that.
And, just seeing the results and how it all went, and they were basically trying to subvert the hippie culture, and the people that would be more apt to take these drugs. And if they saw the freedom people were getting mentally, spiritually, physically, all these things, they were changing the fabric of reality with boop, one drop of LSD. It was just having this ripple effect through communities. And they didn't like that. They couldn't control that. So they had to outlaw it. And they did the Sweeping Psychedelics Act with Richard Nixon.
They were going through, like, making sure they created a problem. Just like
That's what they always do.
They always do it. They did that. I had a black gentleman on the podcast. His name was Harry Robinson. I asked him a question. Why is there such a dadlessness problem in the black community? It's a tough question to ask as a white dude from San Clemente.
100%.
Yeah. But what he said, I'm curious, because if you look at the statistics, it does say that. And I'm here to, I think that, ibogaine, all of these medicines that you're researching are good medicines, but I think the best medicine is truth. Because if you don't understand, like, my arm's broken, then how are you ever going to get healed if you're not willing to accept it? So I'm trying to be like, all right, is there a problem? And he's like, yes. And the reason why is because the government came in and they told single black mothers, if you were divorced and you had more kids, you get more money. And so we end up with this problem. I mean, you look at where is the worst mental health rates among races? Where would you say?
Man, that's a good question. In this country, I don't know. Tell me.
Native Americans.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. That would be by far the worst.
Yeah. It's terrible.
It's really bad. I work on the reservation. I don't know why I discounted them out of that.
No. Yeah. You're good.
No, that is very true, man. I've been talking to Senator Red Dawn from South Dakota about helping her people on the Black Hills. Yeah, it's a very, very sad thing.
They are dropping like flies, and I think, I mean, out of all the people who receive the most amount of help from the government and who have been put into a spot and told that this is where you belong, it's anti-racism racism, where it's like we're doing our best to not be racist and make up for our past sins, that we're going to sit there and tell people that this is where you belong and this is what's going to happen to you, and this is your destiny. And it's like, it's almost a heavier chain than a real chain to put on somebody. Opioids, the things that doctors prescribed you, arguably ruined your career. Are you researching alternative medicine because doctors are giving us poison?
Of course. I got poisoned at a young age. Luckily, my parents never put me on in front of a therapist or a psychologist or, and for any sort of psychoanalyzation, because they would have put me on something.
Yeah.
I've been told I'm on the spectrum. I'm okay. Thanks.
Thank you.
Cool. Thanks for the label. I'm weird. I get it. I'm a little obsessive, and I know I have a big brain.
Put it there. Me too, bro.
I have TISA. I have a lot of the. When the doctor said that, I was like, okay. I was like, that checks out. Like, cool. Well, I was like, can we put a pin in that and get back to mom for a second? And then it just, long story, but I never went back to that place again. But
when did they start poisoning you?
When I was 14, I got addicted to pills.
14.
When I was 14, wrestling in high school. And I was already a star wrestler. I tasted them on my own as usual.
Yeah.
And then I got with the wrong crowd of kids who was taking them, and everyone was going to Mexico to buy them and then smuggle them across the border. And we would do that all the time.
Yeah.
And we were taking out people's dashboards or paying people to do it, and bringing back tons of pills. And steroids, whatever people wanted, from back then.
Yeah.
I was never a steroid guy, but it was a good business model.
Yeah.
And
good business model.
Yeah. The rich kids in high school football all wanted it, or people just around here love steroids. People in general love being buff, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's never been my thing, but I saw kind of what all these medicines did to me. And I like researching things. So I learned and I fought against it. And I was addicted for 20 years. I died of a drug overdose when I was 27.
Really?
Yeah. Oh yeah. And I was on the operating table at San Clemente Hospital. I was born at Hogue. For 24 hours. They told my brother, I think more than once, like, yeah, he's not going to make it. And he had to wait 24 hours to tell my parents. Crazy. So I've been in a battle to fight the pharmaceutical industry and Western medicine my whole life. I know that there are, again, good people in that world, but it's such a broken system. It needs to be burnt to the ground. The whole thing. I don't even want to go into the history of it.
But they don't even, like, here's one of the things, is we set up our economy on the free market, right? So, like, you walk into Jimmy John's versus Subway, and you see one of them has a cheaper sandwich, so you go to that one. Yeah. But they don't have prices. They don't, the free market does not apply to the healthcare system. It's at the end of the day, we get to charge you, $4,000 for an IV. We get to do whatever we want because you're going to die. It's the best type of patients to work with, too, the ones that are desperate.
And you keep them sick.
Yeah.
So that's the big thing, is they're trying to keep you sick and keep you in a petroleum-based medical model that was, pushed by the Rockefellers to destroy actual healing medicines, like natural. They put all that to bed. They said, you can't teach us, we're going to give you this money, because he had all the petroleum, and then he knew that you could make pharmaceuticals out of petroleum, and we're putting petroleum-based products in our body, and we think these are going to benefit us.
No, yeah.
You're putting fucking gasoline in your body? or oil? Is that going to do you good? No. It's made from the same...
But the mushrooms that grow out
on
some guy's lawn.
Stuff. Exactly. Mushrooms grow out of cow shit in every field in America. Ayahuasca is, 2 plants from the jungle. Ibogaine is a root bark from Africa. Even LSD comes from ergot fungus. So
there's things that are very natural.
Compounds, yes. I mean, you get on a good dose of curcumin, your body's going to feel way different.
Yeah.
For inflammation wise, one of the best nootropics too. You know, you just we can biohack people into anything, and I mean, even before peptides, just using food and supplements, I did a good enough job to fix my kid. Was my first case study in healing a human, and it worked really well.
Repairing your daughter through just holistic practices,
Yeah.
taking her to go exercise and all this stuff is the opposite of what they want you to do. They want you to go there, you know, get your quick fix. And so here's one of the things that I think this society is so drenched in, and it's part of the reason why God is so quiet in the USA, is because Jesus says multiple times, "Oh, you have little faith." Matthew chapter 6, he says it again, and I think in Matthew chapter 8, multiple times. But one of the times is they see Jesus out on the water, and Jesus is standing out on the water, and they think it's a ghost. They're scared. And Peter's sitting there, and Jesus says, "Come." He doesn't say think about it. He doesn't say overthink, all this stuff. Yeah. He says, "Come." Yeah. And so he jumps out, steps on the water, and is able to walk. And as soon as he starts to focus on the wind or the waves or whatever, he starts to sink. And so it's showing us, one, that our faith in Jesus is ultimate. Like, it's going to be the most important thing. But number two, Jesus says, "Why did you doubt me, oh, you of little faith?" And what I'm saying is that we are a country of little faith in the sense that we want solutions right now, right? Fix this thing right now, Lord. Like, I pray to you, like you change this problem with lust or this problem with drugs just right now. But Christianity showed us that what we go through right now influences later on. It's that suffering with meaning, right? And so the big faith is being like, it's going to work out in the end if I just do the same thing over and over and over again, running with your daughter and stuff. Like, obviously opioids are going to make it so you can't feel any of your problems anymore. But we're a country of little faith, and I think we see it in every single aspect. Our food.
I think we're changing.
You think so?
I think that I know there's a big change happening in the country. People are not, at least the smart people are now over being a Republican or a Democrat.
Yeah.
And I see it on both sides. There's still the people that don't realize they're blind, that those are, two wings of the same bird. And that, like, even my dad was like, "I'm not a Republican anymore." He still likes Trump a little bit, but he's not, and I voted for Trump. I wouldn't change my vote because it was a lesser of two evils, but we really got fucked on this one. Really bad.
Yeah.
He lied to us. And now people are just taking it into their own hands to do their research and to understand everything from the diet and exercise stuff to the science to, we have this like the great awakening of what's right lately. And it's been really cool to see
the truth, the medicine.
The truth. And where we live, yes, everyone has money, and it seems that everyone has influence in some way, shape, and form. Like, this is the big leagues here, and this is where everything starts, usually in Southern California.
Yeah.
But I mean, how many people are different now here? Everyone's changing. This is becoming a red state, a conservative state. I'm not saying a Republican state. I'm saying a conservative state. People are realizing that we need to get back to those conservative mindsets we used to have because they were better for the world. Yeah. Having those crazy liberal mindsets.
Well, let's define conservative, because I'm huge on defining words before we, what does conservative mean to you when you say that?
Things like the family, keeping a family together. Like things like the marital roles in society, like a man and a woman do certain things. Neither of us is better because of whatever. We're different. And when we work homogeneously, we work together to make the best life possible.
Yeah.
It separately, it doesn't work very well, at least.
George Washington warned us
to be together
hugely to not go into a two-party system. It was in his departing speech. He's like, don't go into a two-party system, and he says because it will lead to foreign meddling within our country. And I think that one that could be like foreign in the sense like maybe there's like some like foreign being like the devil meddling with us, or maybe it's foreign. But I think George Washington pretty brilliant with what he's saying.
Talking about some other group of people. I'm not trying to sound like anyways, yeah, you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, I got.
And because that stuff's been around for a very long time, and people interfering with countries through cultural subversion is a big thing.
But the media even is huge. Like the media, that's why I started up this podcast.
That's
I picked up the mic.
That's it.
Yeah.
It's not, some of the media. No, the media was created to manipulate us.
Yeah.
All of it.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't see any other reason why, you know. Everybody knows it too.
Yeah.
Peptides, everybody is taking them. Why should I?
How old are you?
19. Or no, 20. I just turned 20 a few days ago.
Do you have any injuries?
No.
You don't need it. You're 19. You don't need peptides.
What are they? What are peptides?
Now, you don't need them. You can take them to get bigger, faster, stronger. But peptides are naturally occurring chains of amino acids. Basically, think of peptides as little keys that you're going to shoot into your body, and they're going to make your body produce something endogenously through your own systems that's going to benefit you.
Okay.
You know, and
I walked in the other day, my grandma was shooting up some like gorilla pack or something, you know, and I was like, grandma, and she's like, get out.
Wolverine?
Yeah, Wolverine pack.
The gorilla pack.
Yeah, she's smoking on that Wolverine pack, bro.
So that's good. How old's your grandma?
She just got a new leg or hip or whatever. Yeah, her knee. She got a new knee, and she's, I think, 70s.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good. I'm really happy that grandma's doing that. It's gonna make her feel a lot better.
She's talking about peptides at like the dinners now. She's like, she's on them.
Good. Who's she buying peptides from?
There's this guy he's a strong man. His name's Jerome. Forget his name.
I'm just joking. Well, she should buy them from me, of course.
Yeah.
But no, there's a lot of good brands out there. There's also a lot of bullshit out there.
Yeah.
As a person I've been in the peptide space for about a decade.
Yeah. So you, before people were onto it, it seems like you're before everything.
Everything. It's always how it worked.
Yeah, you're before everything.
The beginning of MMA, you know, before martial arts were cool, whatever.
Yeah.
I'm weird like that. But I was a concierge for people's healing. You know, people want to perform better, and usually they would go do ayahuasca or ibogaine or mushrooms, and they want to stack it with other healing things. And I would always say peptides are it. Like, and I work with a lab. My buddies, good friends of mine, they're the reason that got me off of opiates in general. I owe them, these guys, my life. And, one of the brothers, he goes, hey, you should really start a peptide company. He's like, you know what you're talking about. We have conversations. He's the chemist that makes the Rolls Royce of peptides. One of the best labs in the world, top like 2 or 3. And he's the one that gave me the idea to do it.
Yeah.
He also educates me as my friend and tells me what to watch out for and all these things. He's kind of guided me through the industry. And I've realized, as someone who's trying to build the most legitimate brand possible, I'm not trying to make, all this money in a weird, illegal sort of gray market way. I would like a legitimate telehealth brand to actually help my community.
Are they legal?
Some are.
Some are. Which ones?
Like the BPCs and the GLPs. I think it's like 14 or something like that. I should know what the number is. I think it's 14 that RFK got brought, off the list.
So RFK's he's pepped up. He's a little
Look at that dude.
He's a pep boy.
Yeah,
he's a pep boy.
He's on testosterone and he's on peptides. Part of my influencer model is giving my box of peptides to him.
He's doing push-ups at the inauguration.
I'm supposed to go to an AA meeting with him soon. I've never met Bobby, but I've heard amazing things, and friends of friends, a lot of friends of friends. And I work with politicians now, on a weird level. I never thought I would be saying that. But, getting boxes of my brand, we have these beautiful influencer boxes that we're going to give out to politicians or to, celebrities, podcasters.
Named Harlan?
You're too young. What do you want to accomplish? Do you want to get bigger?
I heard there's one that turns me, like, if I break a bone or something, I turn green. I'm just kidding. It's glow stick 45 or something. No, there's one that makes you dark.
Oh, you want melanotan?
Nah, I don't know if I want it.
You want? I mean, you could.
What comes from it?
It could change your hair and eye color.
Oh, I'm good. I'm good for.
Yeah. Be the perfect Aryan you are.
Yep.
It's like I'd say because my girlfriend's the perfect Aryan from Germany.
Yeah.
So
they actually invited me to play the perfect Aryan, and there's this new movie, and I was like, oh, I don't want to do that.
Yeah, her hair's dark, and I was like looking at baby pictures, and I was like, but you're like the perfect Aryan person.
Yeah.
I was like, I know. I was like, you need to change it back. I want to see it.
Yeah, blonde's cool, dude.
It's
Japan. They loved me.
You guys are a literal dying race of people.
Yeah.
You're being bred out. And I'm trying to repopulate the white race. You know, breed the brown out of me. You know, the half. I'm half-breed. I talk a lot of shit. I'm making jokes.
No, you're good.
Being offensive.
So you're at the start of most things. It seems like. What's the next thing?
So next thing is keep working. We have built the infrastructure to be one of the best, top, by far most beautifully branded peptide company in the space, with the right connections to everything we need. But the industry is at a standstill because of legislation, merchant processing, all these things. So waiting. But once that thing goes, we flip that switch. We're gonna be, it's gonna get weird, crazy. Like the amount of money that's on the table. I mean, even in like a gray market, research purposes only market, there's $1 trillion, we'll say, on the table.
Yeah.
That's a lot of money people are gonna have to figure out how to put it in banks.
Yeah.
But it's there, like washing it or however. I don't know how it's gonna go. I don't know banking very well. But there's that, and then there's the actual legal side of it. So it's like these two things, this dance you have to do to have both of them. And so we'll figure that out whenever we're ready, whenever the industry's ready, we're ready. For psychedelics, I guess more importantly, for my life's work, is we have an ayahuasca retreat in September 26th through October 4th. We're doing a traumatic brain injury study, our second, at La Huayra Ayahuasca in Colombia, outside of Medellin, up in the cloud forest. Okay. And the owner is going to be here actually on this couch in like the next couple of weeks. He just needs to get away. So I'm like, well, come stay at my house. The last time we were there was our first ayahuasca study we did, and
it's totally legal there. You can
totally legal. Okay. We bring in PhDs with us. There's like 5 of them on staff, and we collect over 1 million markers in the human genome. Do fecal testing, so gut biome, blood, saliva, neuroimaging before, during, and after. Not everyone's during, because wearing a neuroimaging cap during ceremony, I won't do it. They're like, you can do it?
That would freak me out. No, I hear.
I'm on ayahuasca. That's your job to test them. Test subjects, boss. Not happening.
Yeah.
And we will potentially collect up to 30 people's data. We've got fighters like Cain Velasquez is coming, former 2-time heavyweight champion of the world, who just got out of prison for a crazy story. If you haven't looked into it, you need to try to kill the guy that molested his child.
Really?
And I've been working with Cain through his whole process of, healing, and with his family and his forgiveness side of it, and like all these crazy things that he's been going through. Now he teaches breathwork and meditation. He was doing it in prison.
Is Christianity on the rise for him?
Yes. He's always been a Christian.
Okay.
I was born Catholic. I mean, he's a Mexican like myself. Catholicism runs deep in our blood.
Yeah.
We're actually starting a church with him as the figurehead for psychedelics, so he can serve medicine. But we'll get there. That stuff takes time. Where I'm bringing him into the political space, I'm bringing him into the nonprofit, so he can have a story of healing. And
do people look at what he does? Like, I don't know his story. Is it noble what he did?
Well, yeah. You want to kill the man that molested your kid.
Yeah.
But now the story on the back end is about forgiveness. He was teaching pedophiles breathwork in prison.
Really?
Yeah. And I'm like, yo, dude, that's a lot.
That's a lot.
I don't know. I love you, but I'm still trying to wrap my head around it.
Some people don't want him to breathe.
No. Like me.
Yeah.
But he knows that the only way that he heals from this, that his family, that his kids, his ex-wife, or maybe they're still married. I'm not sure if that's the text. you know, they have to heal first before anything good happens in their life. So he's out, you know, he's teaching breathwork, traveling around the country to do it. The nonprofit is taking him down to Colombia. We'll study him. We'll get him helped. We'll get him coached. We'll get him healed. And then on the back end, he'll be working with Ibogaine. I'm going to get him sent to Ibogaine as well. Because for my fighters who have a lot of brain damage, which all fighters do, I like to pair Ibogaine and Ayahuasca. Neither one has to be in front of each other. Just within like the first 6 months.
Is Ibogaine what Joe Rogan was taking?
No. Joe takes the mushrooms. He's never done ayahuasca, never done Ibogaine.
Ivermectin.
Yeah,
Yes. That's a different one.
That's to cure out cancer and things like parasites in your body. But you know, to take Kane, to take Frank Shamrock, another light heavyweight champion in the UFC, former. He was the first light heavyweight champion. He's one of our business advisors. He's coming. I mean, I'm in talks with Dustin Poirier's people, other champions that need it. The only reason I bring up Dustin is because he just was on the news trying to fight a cop at the airport. You know, I'm always in talks with people like BJ Penn, who's doing super bad, or the Diaz family. Like these athletes who I bring up their problems because it's public information.
Yeah.
If you know MMA, you know their problems. There's drugs involved, and there's all kinds of other bad stuff.
MMA has a special capability to produce such high highs and such low lows, because when you're on top of the world, when you got that belt wrapped around your waist, it probably feels close to like fentanyl. But when you're at
it's better.
It's better.
There's this like immortalized God feeling where you're the best person.
The cameras are flashing.
You know, like, at one point, I was looked at as the best pound for pound fighter in the world, above John Jones.
Yeah.
Like I was supposed to be one of the greatest ever, and I'm not. You know, when I go train with people, they're like, "Oh yeah, we forgot you're better than us." And I'm just in that one context, obviously. You know, like
no, I get it, bro. Like,
and it's that sport has just been ravaged by brain damage. And my generation, the generation that raised me before this, were savages, psychopaths, drug addicts, womanizers.
It wasn't even like about money. They just wanted to make somebody feel the pain that they were feeling, is what it seems like.
I wanted to kill someone. My goal was to catch a body. And that sounds terrible. I would never say that again. But I back then, I was trying to kill somebody.
That's why I'm so interested in this field, is because that's honesty right there. Yeah. And you need to be able to heal from that, because
imagine having to unpack that.
Yeah.
Why did it?
With brain damage.
With all the brain damage, God, it was so much. So now.
And opioids.
I've built a program and an ecosystem, a path, where these athletes don't have to go through what I did. And sure, I got abused in the business world of psychedelics too, because of I lost a lot of money, almost 7 figures. It was terrible. But I learned, because I wanted to do the business side of this. Kane just wants to heal people. He's not trying to do business. Like, we've had talks about it. He's like, yo, that's not my, leave me out of that. I'm like, I know. I'm like, but you have to understand what I'm doing, dude. Like, I'm trying to take care of you. And I go sit with politicians in this country or the UK, or I'm sure other places eventually. Do I want to sit with politicians and talk and be around like life? No. But I have to shield what I've built from that.
Yeah.
Because someone has to do it, and I don't trust that anyone else can properly accomplish it like I can. So having an entire ecosystem of coaches coaching athletes to go through the program, and then they can coach, they could be certified to go through a program, a year-long program, to become a certified coach, then to self-serve back into the ecosystem and coach again.
So you're trying to do something about the back end of UFC fighters and athletes, where you're produced with no background of like work at all. You've no job history, no like imagine coming up to a guy with cauliflower ear, you know, and you're just like, you know, I don't have any history in jobs, but you saw me on the TV almost kill that guy. Can I work at your company? And it's got to be hard to get a job. It's got to be hard, and it's got to be.
They want to hire you. So Lifetime Fitness, thank you, Lifetime. I've been a member there ever since.
I was a founding member.
I love Lifetime, and I love what they built there. You know, the owner's a madman, but he is a genius. I used to train his niece, and I went in there and I confessed myself to them. And obviously, I know a lot about the body and science. And they were like, "Okay, well, what certifications do you have?" I was like, I just showed them a picture of my belt. And they're like, okay, you're hired.
Yeah.
But you have to get certified. And I never ended up getting certified as a personal trainer because I don't want to be a personal trainer.
Yeah.
I probably could have used the schooling and from NASM and whatnot. But anyways, I lived everything you're saying. I had to have the come to Jesus moment, the ego death, all these things where I had to realize, like, what am I going to do with the rest of my life? And through these journeys, you understand what's in front of you, whether it's ayahuasca, mushrooms, ibogaine. It gives you a lit up path through the dark. It'll show you whether it might not be what you're like. That's what I want to do, but when you see it, you go, oh, that's what I need to do. That's what I should be doing. And it's usually is that thing you want to do, deep down. Maybe you tell yourself, no, but that's really where you want to be. And then it's about us as a team, as an ecosystem, keeping them safe to go through the healing, to go through the health protocols we have. We work with Merrick Health Solutions. They do genetic testing on either side when they're at home. So then they talk to a health coach and doctors about peptides and hormones and all the things they would need, to feel better. Because I can't just have anecdotal evidence for these people's stories as they go through. I put them on stage if they feel it at conferences or at parties for psychedelics, because this is a growing thing, and I need them to speak about this the right way.
So, what are some of the concrete core pieces of evidence that psilocybin is a medicine?
There's a process called epigenetic neurogenesis that happens. Okay, so
I don't have glasses, so I don't understand what that means.
When you ingest psilocybin, okay, which is the active ingredient in mushrooms, and there's also a whole tryptamine profile, but let's just
focus on this.
Focus on psilocybin is the main thing that we know of. It converts in the body to psilocin, which psilocin is a serotonin analog. So it looks like serotonin, and it hits the 5-HT2A receptor pathway, which you have all over your skin. And there's a huge anti-inflammatory effect when that happens. Still trying to figure why or how or all the mechanisms. Again, we're getting deeper into the science here, but when you take that, you have a production of things like brain-derived neurotrophic factor, which I have in peptide form in my fridge. Huge for my brain healing, for brain damage, for anyone with Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, all that dementias. If you don't want to take psychedelics, you can take the peptides. We can fix all those sort of things with just that. It'll also produce glutamate, which is a precursor to NAD, which is people commonly think it's a peptide, but it's a coenzyme. And these things are like miracle grow for the brain. Slightly resurfacing, helping you smooth out those pathways everyone talks about, adds to greater connectivity of 4 parts of the brain. Instead of speaking one by one, they speak in unison together. The whole brain quiets down and then lights up. And instead of one big symphony, you have 1 million symphonies going off at once in the brain. And the anti-inflammatory properties lead to better kinetic efficiency, better blood flow. We've seen reversal of age in cells. So
really?
It's actually extending the life of cells. So you're actually extending your human life by doing this. You're tapping into source, God. A lot of people in modern day the word God's been bastardized. It has. For good reason. I left the church because of pedophilia. I didn't get molested, but people very close to me were, and I didn't like that. So the word has been bastardized, but people always want to talk with their hands when they do psychedelics and the source and the universe. And I'm like, it's God. You can just say it. Let's forgive the word, because
forgive the word.
You know what I mean? It's a human condition to fuck things up, and humans in power, whether you're Jewish or Christian or Catholic or Muslim, whether it's sleeping with little kids, they're killing people, they're sacrificing people. It's because evil people exist and they infiltrate these things. It's not religion's fault or God's fault. But anyways, psychedelics get you in tune with that. And sure, a microdose is just like you tune in a little bit and you're like, okay, it's background music. And you take a big dose. Like if I give you 5-MeO right now on the couch, You know that Michelangelo picture where God and David are touching?
Yeah.
That's going to happen on my couch.
No way.
And all of a sudden you're going to be there and be like, whoa.
I don't have any interest right now because I don't have like any medical reason for it.
No. I tell people you should be in distress, most likely, unless you're really looking to use it to elevate. You know,
Yeah.
you're pretty elevated as a young man. Like, eventually you are. Like you're already there. You know a lot. I've had multiple.
I guess sometimes it's hard to take like compliments from people because you're told that like you can't or else you become like cocky or whatever.
I mean, yeah, don't become cocky.
Yeah.
But like you should have a little cockiness about your brain because you're a smart kid, and a swagger more than cockiness.
Yeah.
Because cockiness will get you in trouble.
It's more about understanding where you're at.
Understanding, but doing it with a smile on your face, not being a dick about it.
Yeah.
You know, but eventually, you know, with the amount of understanding you have and the fact that you are so close to God, this is the way in.
So my brother, he was constantly like, kind of, he's always been like, yeah, I've had spiritual experiences through psychedelics, and I've always been like, Miller, dude, you're crazy, bro. You would never experience anything through that. You're just tripping out, like whatever. But now I'm like kind of hearing what you're saying, and I'm starting to like maybe that. Like the amount of people that have came to Christianity through it. I mean, I'm sure some have gone away from it too, but like,
they always come back. It's from what I've seen.
Yeah.
Now they leave and then they go, oh no, wait, never mind.
Yeah.
And they're back, and
It's
I see
a
them at
circle.
church, or I hear them talking about God, and I'm like I had one very famous fighter. He goes, you've done this much medicine, and I've been working with him for a long time. I shouldn't say his name, just but he goes, you've done this much medicine, and you still believe in God? And I was like, you don't? You've done this much medicine and you don't believe in God? I was like, how does that work? And then like a year later, we were on a call or something. It actually, I don't want to say I was offended because he's my friend and my friend can do whatever he wants. I'm still going to love him. Yeah. You know, but I was just shocked. And then, you know, a year later or so, he was talking all about God. But like, we are the same sort of human. We go too deep on everything. Yeah. And he went on like this Jesus and biblical rant, and I was like, "Thank you, Father.
Thank you."
He's back. You know, I knew you wandered a bit because that's the path to sainthood. Yeah. You wander off the path. You go do dumb things. Boring, normal folk they don't become saints. That's not how it works. And it's through those trials and tribulations. And I'm not encouraging people to go to be a degenerate or anything, but you know, it's led to some amazing things, at least in my life. You know. Yeah. And experience is important. You don't want to die with no experience.
I ask myself so much, like, why did God choose Paul? Why? You know, to show how much he could really do with a broken, messed up person like me, like you, like anybody, because I mean, ultimately, that's what sanctification is.
Yeah, and these experiences with psychedelia. So there's a book that a friend of mine wrote with Timothy Leary, Gordon Wasson, and Carl Ruck called The Road to Eleusis. This is back in the 70s. Okay. Explaining how there was a site, there is a site still called Eleusis, the Eleusinian Mysteries. That's where that comes from, in Greece. Okay. It's an archaeological site now. It's not a real city anymore. But it's where Socrates, Plato, Marcus Aurelius, whoever it was, would go and learn. And they would learn. So this book was expanded on by another guy that I know, Brian Murarescu, and he expanded on the book. And there's now a study at Harvard about it. So we'll get to that later. But it shows how they would go there and they would ingest something called the koukion. And it was a spiked wine or beer. And that spiked wine or beer had things in it. So when Brian got a hold of it and they tested the chalices they found at the site, what did they find? Ergamine, LSD. Now, when you mix these organic compounds together with, you know, things like scopolamine or these other, you know, psychedelic type things, or these things to get you high in some way, shape, and form. You stack them on top of each other. You have these wild experiences. Obviously, I wasn't there, but it's where democracy was created. It's where not the advent of the Christian religion, but the use of the Christian religion started en masse, because it was one of many cults within the area back then. And they saw the figurehead, and they used that to, I think they all realized through these journeys that polytheism is not a thing, or not real. There is one capital G.
That's what everybody talks about after they get done with tripping.
There's one capital G God.
Yeah.
So they went and said, this guy's onto something. This is right. And then the church was formed, the Roman Catholic Church, basically, and that was used as the vehicle to push the narrative, or our narrative, our religion on the world, because it's a religion of peace. It's got a lot of benefits to it. It's a really good thing. This whole thing sounds somewhat manipulative, because there's humans involved. And along the way, they went from going, you drink the kukion to get these ideas and do all these beautiful things and pray to source or whatever it is. Along the way, this cardinal, this pope, this king, bishop, whoever it was, started to take things and hide things from the people, because the human condition. Drink this wine. This wine, which has alcohol in it, is going to dumb you down. It's going to numb you to the effects of being able to talk to God. And without all the 5G, without all this calcification of our pineal gland and chemicals in the air, we would be much more in tune with God than we are now. We would be. So they've done this over millennia, where they've taken and confined. Oh, you can't read. Well, these books are in Latin, so you can't read them anyways. We're going to decipher this. You drink this, we're going to take this, we're going to talk to God. We'll tell you what he says later. It's all a control mechanism. It's all these things people do to win. And what I'm really getting at is the source of this. The psychedelic ingestion of any one of these medicines is going to get you in touch with God on a level that you never thought was possible. It's going to make you love the people that you go through the experience with on a level that you never thought was possible. It's going to make you appreciate and love yourself more than you ever thought was possible. And when I bless things, I don't bless with Palo Santo and sage, really. I bless with frankincense. I have a very Catholic-centric serving of
Catholic-centric.
Yeah, and it's true, because I know that the church, I'm a very devout Catholic man, is looking into psychedelics, and they have been for years.
So you said the Pope blessed your studies?
No. The Vatican blessed our ministry.
Our ministry.
Yes, the ministry that within that ministry, my mentor ran SEAL Team 6 for 20 years.
Yeah.
We serve medicine to Catholics. And Catholics,
psychedelics?
Christians, yes, psychedelics. We work in the spiritual warfare realm. We have exorcists like Father Dan Rehill, Father Chad Rippinger, guys that are on Sean Ryan's all the time.
Yeah.
We're not fucking around.
Yeah.
They're and not everyone agrees.
So you're in this fight, right? And you're grabbing the vases off the stand. You're throwing it all at it.
Yeah, because for me personally.
Yeah.
When I met Hendo, we just
connected. Who's
Hendo? Jason Henderson is my mentor, the guy from SEAL Team 6. And he ran SEAL Team 6 for 20 years. Never lost a SEAL the whole time he was in charge.
What?
No one died, right? And people go, oh, that's rare? I'm like, I'm pretty sure that's never happened before.
Yeah.
He doesn't tell me stories, but everybody else tells me stories about him. I love it, because I look up to him so much. He's really been an incredible person in my life. And he goes, if I'm gonna start working with you, you have to be a Catholic again. I was like, I picked up on that after you baptized me, dude. We're good. And I said, so you do whatever, I'll do whatever you say. But not only did he never lose any SEALs, he was also their Catholic spiritual advisor the whole time.
Is he like a priest?
No.
Oh, he's just like a sponsor type of deal?
Yeah, he is extremely Catholic.
Yeah.
And not only the biggest, scariest, deadliest person I've ever met in my life, you know, like 6'3", 270,
Yeah.
brick shit house, killed thousands of people with his bare hands. But is the most gentle, God-centered man ever. Not perfect, you know, none of us are, you know, but through him, we've got, you know, other fighters like Boss Rutan, you know, Kane is part of our group. We have these amazing humans and a bunch of special forces people, some rock stars, some like high level folks that are trying to help our community first, because that's what psychedelics, that's where it starts. I started with fighters. I've had to branch out. I shouldn't say had to. I get to branch out.
Yeah.
With all the other athletes because it's important.
Sometimes you get to and had to. It's a weird mix.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because I just saw how important it was for everybody else. And I have my guys set up. We're good. Like, I can take care of other people now. But I also look at the other lane that I fall into, which is a Catholic. A proud Catholic man who tries to be, you know, have my martial arts side and my Catholic side.
That's got to be a weird balance. Being like in this psychedelic community, which I know sometimes can be godless, and sometimes in the UFC thing, thank God, has been like kind of, you see the White House fight, and every single one of them's like, love God, you know, God got me here type of deal. Like, things have been changing, but that probably was weird, especially back in the time that you grew up.
Yo, I mean, I remember Chuck Liddell, who is now, you know, back in the church, was like, he'd peek his big head and be like, hey, remember, God hates you.
Really? Really?
Nobody likes you, God hates you.
Yeah.
That's not real, bro, stop. And it was always a joke. We never had conversations if we thought God was real or not, but it was a constant joke to mess with each other, to tell you that God didn't love you or whatever. Something stupid. Something that's really inappropriate to say now as you get older and you understand the impact of words. It was a godless society. You know, it was. And now with this spiritual warfare going on in mass around the world, people will realize this is just a better way to live. You know, it really is. It's the modern day spiritualism, completely godless, and a lot of people are in that space within psychedelics.
Yeah.
Again, wearing big hats and capes and talking with their hands and all these crazy liberal mindset and trans that and this and that, and it's like gay sex magic everything, and you're like, wait, what? Like, what are we doing here? Like, I thought we were just trying to heal, you know. But like,
I'm just trying to get a part in a movie. Like, you get.
And again, people should be. Everyone deserves it. Everyone needs the gays, the straight, the trans, the Republican, the Democrat.
They need healing and truth.
Everyone needs it.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not against anyone doing it, but you just saw like everyone fly their flag all of a sudden in psychedelics, and you're like, cool. But this doesn't mean we need to all be best friends. But we all need to appreciate and give each other a safe space. But like, you know, I've come into the understanding that most athletes are conservative Christians. You know, and then you have the Muslim side of it too.
Yeah.
But we'll just say they're pointed in the same direction.
Yeah.
Fighting over the semantics, but pointing in the same direction, and fighting each other.
It's just all a fight.
But they're conservative.
Yeah.
Athletes, because they've struggled so hard, that struggle usually leads to conservatism. Struggle usually doesn't lead, because if you struggle means you tried hard.
Yeah.
And life wasn't pillowed or wasn't nerfed for you. You know, you need a safe space for this.
Well, you probably also value the struggle, so you don't want to, like, okay, but here's a hot take. Both of the sides are positioned, so one is more government, one's less government, right? But that doesn't mean no government, less government, right?
Yeah.
And they still say vote on this law and vote on that law and this new thing, this new proposal, right? Me personally, I don't want to vote for anything new. I want to repeal all the old stuff because we're changing and stuff. And I've always been, I grew up in Idaho, born in Idaho, shot my first deer when I was like 8, learned how to live off of, like, you know, normal life that we're supposed to be living.
Yeah.
And
the good life.
Yeah, the good life. And then somewhere along the line, it's like, we got to like focus on like what's going on in the big cities, and you know, and I'm like, what happened to like the streams and the creeks, you know, and the nuclear family and that type of stuff. So I want to like repeal and take off things, and so the less government doesn't work for me anymore. You know, I don't want to be governed anymore. We see what they do to every single group of people. They make them, you know, reliant and stuff. I want to go back to like, it's no longer we the people, for the people, by the people. It's we the politicians, for the politicians, by the politicians. And so there's no term limits. There's lobbyists. There's people invading, you know, our minds and our souls, putting all this subliminal messaging. Number 1 degree is marketing, right? How funny is that? You know, we did it to ourselves. And so now we just got to sit back and value the truth. Like, I value the truth as a person. Now, one last question for like kind of this, and then I just got some, just ones I'm dying to know. I've always wanted to be considered the best at something. I think of you having that belt wrapped around your waist. I've always kind of been like, you know, like close to last pick in most sports. Kind of looked over, and like in a sentence, could you explain how you become the best?
Repetition is the mother of skill.
All right, now we could elaborate on that one. We could use a few more sentences.
You know, repetition, doing something over and over again.
Insanity?
No, I mean, sure.
Yes,
but no, because there's insanity there.
Yeah.
But it is structured repetition. Like I say, when I tell these kids to do something on the pads, and then I see Tino and Dean doing something else, I'm like, well, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Like, and I have to be an asshole about it, because this is how fighters work. They realize they don't listen. They're like, well, we're just freestyling. I'm like, no, I told you to do a right kick, a double kick, bang, 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 bang for 5 minutes straight.
Yeah.
That's all you do for 5 minutes, because I want that thing to work really, really, really well.
Yeah.
We have to break down each piece of their game to make that happen. So, you know, a mother takes care of something. Okay, that takes care of all the structure. Mother gives you structure. Okay, and at the end there's that skill. Okay, so repetition is the structure that gives that skill life. Like, it bursts that skill into something for us as a weapon. It's that kick or that punch or that takedown or that submission. That thing, you know, like I am the blade they sharpen, or I am the stone they sharpen those blades on.
Yeah.
You know, like I'm sitting there going, this, you know, and luckily they listen. They're just dumb kids. So they get distracted and they want to do something else. But that's where, you know, I think, you know, the only way you get good at anything. Some of us are gifted where you can be instantly good at pretty much anything just because you're a super athlete.
Yeah.
You know, but like, you want to get high level, then okay, then do it. Do it for give me 10,000 hours.
Yeah.
And then tell me how good you are.
So the showing up, doing the thing over and over again.
Yeah.
That's what I mean by insanity. I don't mean it in like a negative thing. It's like,
it takes an insane person to get there.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. To be in that ring, you know, after just getting absolutely just, you know.
Yeah, or to master anything. If you put 10,000 hours into something, that's an obsession.
Yeah.
You know, and like.
Oh, I want to talk about that.
Yeah.
So, obsession, motivation, and discipline. I think those are 3 different things that lead to the same thing. I know that you're obsessive because you wouldn't have ever been the best if you weren't. I'm obsessive for sure, like when it comes to things. And I think that's the only quality like it takes to be the best, right? You know, everybody says be balanced and all these things, but sometimes you got to really go towards something if you really want to be the best. Motivation is free, you know, it comes in the moment. It's not shelf stable. It doesn't last forever, right? Motivation comes in like the wind, and it'll hit your face one day. You gotta sail with it. Discipline is doing it going into the wind, despite the motivation to not do it. But obsession is not being able to do the thing, you know? And so how has obsession kind of been positive and negative in your career?
Led to injuries, led to, I guess from a greater perspective, taking too much drugs.
Yeah.
You know, sleeping with too many women, or that person, too much energy put into that person, like get obsessive over things.
Yeah. But you just want it to work out. I feel like all these things that end up being bad we do for good reasons.
Yeah, I wanted to work out, but I wanted to work out too hard.
Yeah.
You know, hurt myself in the process or hurt others in the process. Not that I was a bad training partner. You know, I just went really hard all the time and I redlined it too much, too often. I mean, in the UFC alone, I had 3 surgeries here, 2 infections, and 4 surgeries here. I already had a fracture and dislocation in my arm years before that, but so like I mean, I had a lot of injuries, and I was only in the UFC for like 6 fights.
Yeah.
It was like a fight a year because I was.
Were you at Tachi Palace for?
Yeah, I had another 10 fights probably fall out in the UFC. I could have had a dozen fights, 15 fights if I didn't get hurt, but I was always getting injured because I was redlined for too long.
Do you feel like you wasted your potential?
Yeah,
And if
100%.
and if so, what would you say to somebody going down that same path?
What I say now is don't do it. It's not cool to be that person anymore. It was cool to be a rock star and a douchebag when I was growing up. You know? Like that's not I mean, sure the savagery of fighting is gone. Not gone, but it's died off a bit. But society's changed. We're not welcome anymore. Those sort of sort of degenerates, those sort of crazy people. We don't.
You guys used to be emperors and
Yeah,
warriors.
it's just we're a dying breed.
Yeah.
And I'm literally dying. I see my friends dying in front of me, and it's, it has a lot of negative consequences. So every once in a while, you'll get some psycho that goes into the UFC, like a Chimaev or like a Strickland.
Yeah.
They're still not that. They're not that young. They're in their 30s, right? So it's just like I mean, I see just the kids that are your age these days are, I like to say, soft as baby shit.
So you're looking at all these kids and they come to you for advice and stuff.
Yeah. What not to do? So
Yeah.
that was your question, right?
Yeah.
What not to do? You know what not to do. Be a good person. Don't do drugs. Don't stay out late. Don't drink. You want to have sex? You have someone come to your house. You don't need to be out all night chasing it. Like you need to take care of yourself. If you want to do this, it's a business now. This is a lifestyle change.
Yeah.
All you do is train and recover and work if you have to work, or school. I tell them they need to work and they need, or they need to be in school. One of the two. That's important. Really, really important to get those things done. And maybe it's not college, but maybe it's a NASM certification for Tino. Tino is a personal trainer. He's already very smart. Get those sort of certs that want to help you build your life so you have something for after. Because I could punch you in the eye and your retina could detach. Training, drilling, very light, whap, things happen, and then your career's over. I know 2 one-eyed people.
They make one they hang out together.
2 one-eyed Asians. So technically, 2 people.
Yeah.
These guys. And they both lost their eyes, training. So it's like, the things can happen that easily. But, it's this overhaul, and it's about leading by example. Telling them, like, this is what you do. If you are going to have fun, stay safe. Like, but these kids don't drink, they don't party. I don't have to like.
It's too expensive.
I don't have to worry about it.
Yeah.
I know they're not doing drugs. Where are you at? Like, worst thing they're gonna do is smoke weed, and okay, I'm not super against that. So
yeah,
like, it's I'm not really worried about it.
So what makes one of these kids great?
Work ethic. That's what makes all of them have a chance at greatness, is work ethic. They all work really hard. They all have different levels of talent, of course. But talent versus skill, how much can you make these? How well can you build these skills? Because your natural talent, like Tino's got a fucking ton of natural talent.
Yeah.
And crazy. Dylan, same thing.
Huge potential.
Crazy.
Do you feel like that like in the gym, looking at these young kids, kind of from an outside perspective, you'd probably learn a lot more than them. Do you feel like they're creating their potential or discovering it more?
Discovering it.
Yeah.
I'm creating it.
Yeah.
Through drills.
Yeah.
Through repetition. And not that they don't have a hand in it, because I tell them to look into things and to get workout tools and watch other coaches, like absorb as much information as you can. So we both have a part in the creation. It's a group effort. It's a team thing. And I've told them all, I think you asked that question. I'm like, oh, could they be champion? I'm like, I don't know. I won't know that until they're fighting.
But then I asked the question after that. I said, where would these kids go if they believed in themselves as much as you do? And you said they're in the UFC.
They could make it to the UFC for sure. Making it to the UFC means you've already won 1 or 2 belts to get there.
Yeah.
So you're the baddest person in your area.
Yeah.
You're one of the toughest people on the planet. If you make it just to Dana's White Contender Series.
Yeah.
You make it in the UFC, you're part of the top 500 or 1,000 people in the world.
Yeah, no, you're really good.
You're one of the toughest people on the planet. For most people, that's a good enough win. That's a big deal.
Yeah. It's a huge deal.
To become world champion, and this is what I always say, same thing is, I'm going to stick you in a cage to fight someone from a place like Dagestan. Horrible place to grow up, very dangerous. I'm sure there's beautiful parts to it, looks beautiful. But like rough place to grow up, we'll say.
Yeah.
This person would gladly kill you. He would beat you to death with a smile on his face for a championship belt, for a bag of money, for the fame, for the recognition to become UFC champion.
Yeah. They
would love to do that to you. So are you willing to get in there and fight like you're going to do the same thing to this motherfucker? Because if you're not, I would like to know.
Yeah.
And I can already see and know if you are. So that's why I say I don't know if they're ready, because they're not ready now.
No.
They're young. No, a very few young people are, crazy enough to do that. So we have to mold them through scar tissue, basically, mentally, physically, emotionally. You have to beat them into submission to be ready for this. You have to mold them through fire, through just that, like slamming that hammer on that red piece of metal, ding, 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 and you have to pound it into them. So I don't know. And I tell them all the time, you guys are too nice. Yeah. You guys need to be meaner. And create a character. Please don't make it happen all the time. But it's a character you can switch on when you get in that cage.
And don't make it Uncle Creepy. That's a bad name. No, that's a bad name.
Whether it's a pro fight or your next amateur fight, try and hurt this person as bad as you can.
Yeah.
Because that's the point of what we're doing, is to hurt this person, to physically render them incapable of defending themselves, or turn the lights off.
You can't really sugarcoat it.
No, you have to hurt this person.
The reason why I'm asking though is because I truly feel like I'm going into this. I'm probably one of the youngest podcasters that you could possibly it's an old man's sport.
Yeah, it is.
For sure. But
call me old, bro.
No. I'm just sorry. But all the best people. Yeah. Dominating it. You good?
Yeah, this is just my phone is ringing like crazy. Throw this over here. Oh, there we go. It's annoying.
I look at Conor McGregor. He's like, I see these sequences on the mat, I study this. This is all I know. You look at Michael Jordan, Kobe, dribbling himself to sleep, shooting, crazy work ethic, thinking about these things. And I truly want to be in that same conversation. Marlon Brando with the work ethic. You see Timothy Chalamet. You see all these people that show up and they're obsessed about it and they do it. And so I don't see why I couldn't apply a UFC fighter's work ethic towards this. And so I guess when you're saying oh, I'm going in there trying to hurt somebody, at least Christianically, that might be a bad way to say it. I don't know. I'm trying to hurt the devil. I'm trying to make a dent on mental health, I'm trying to claim back just even if it was one soul, Yeah. And so I'm just so interested in this living a life that's worthwhile, because how you said, there's ways to throw your life away other than, actually killing yourself. Living a life that isn't worth living is no life at all. Right? On drugs or not enjoying yourself. I used to wake up every morning and I hated myself. I would see myself in the mirror and I'd spit on him, you know, because I hated him. And so now I'm at a point in my life where Jesus changed that. My life has changed. And so, like, this pursuit of greatness, like, I want to do good with the life. Like, a B plus isn't going to cut it anymore, you know? It's not.
No, that's the right mentality to have.
And I think I want to do it so bad. I'm just curious because you've lived so much life.
Mm-hmm.
Who is your greatest teacher? Who or what?
My daughter.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Okay. Tell me about that.
She's the only reason I'm alive, you know, and she's.
Do you tell her that?
Yeah, she knows that.
Yeah.
She's my best friend. Probably too much of friends, you know. Like because her mom got remarried. Her stepdad's a good friend of mine. Has a little brother and sister, so they have like the family life together. You look on Instagram, like I'm like not barely on her Instagram.
Yeah.
It's like because her parents, her mom and stepdad are influencers, so everything's photographed and all this stuff. So we have this very funny pulled out relationship. It's just her and I, you know, and we get a lot of time together, and we're like best friends, you know, and she's taught me how to grow up. You know, I wasn't ready for a kid when I had her. It's taken me a while to make her proud of like, my dad's a grown up now. Took me a while, you know? So she's been my greatest teacher. She's the reason why I healed myself in the first place. You know, she was my first study subject.
Yeah.
Her, you know, in real time has always been everything. So for surely her.
I truly believe, I know you said you didn't like Kanye, but he has a quote from one of his songs, people don't get the flowers while they still smell them. What's one thing you could say to her to make her know that more?
Sorry, say it again?
Know how much you appreciate her.
Oh, know how much I appreciate her.
Or maybe that I could say to somebody that means like that much for me.
I just gotta show up.
Yeah.
I text her every day. It's about that time. I think she's almost off work.
Yeah.
She's 14. She works at a little beach shack. And just showing up, just being around.
Yeah.
I don't have to say anything. She just wants to hang out with me, which is a good feeling, you know. Because our relationships had been rocky at points. Because that's what happens with, you know, divorced families and parents and kids and all that sort of stuff. So.
Especially, you know, like it sounds like she's in the middle of two influencers and two big personalities or whatever, and you just gotta like maybe she's just like where it would be hard for me if my everything was photographed and stuff.
Yeah, and I don't mean to say anything negative about them because I love them and I love what they're doing, and I hope it didn't sound that way.
No, not at all.
I love the fact that they get the most beautiful family experience ever. You know, and I'm happy that she got that with that side of her family.
Yeah.
I would like to provide it. Obviously, she's 14, so
yeah,
if I get married and have more kids, then I'm sure she'll be a part of it. But you know, she's gonna be old.
Yeah. But dang, dude, you're doing such a good job.
I'm trying. You know, I've done a lot of really dumb shit in my life, so I'm just every day I try and do better.
You said on a Joe Rogan interview 13 years ago, you said that I wrote it down.
It was 13 years ago. Wow.
13 years ago.
I haven't talked to Joe in a while.
That you said you spent 20 plus years doing everything possible, and now you just want to be good. How has Jesus helped you be good? Is being good better than you expected? And do you feel like you changed?
It makes my life easier being good. You know, I just finished reading The Consecration of St. Joseph, you know, teaching me how to be a better father and better man. It's just these simple examples that you see within Scripture, you know, that have helped me. Reading it, it's like philosophy, same thing. You read what Marcus Aurelius said thousands of years ago, what Buddha said, what Rumi said, what Bob Marley said, you know, all these prophetic people that are like, that have really changed the narrative on the world by saying the same thing. Reminding people, this is how to be a good human.
Yeah.
You know, this is what you do if you want to live an easy, good life. Life just gets into flow. once I found God, and I always made fun of everybody. Like, well, once I found God, my life got better. I'm like, okay. Once I found God, my life got way better. And it's just lined up. I don't do anything every day, like as far as like trying to facilitate a schedule. My schedule is just put in front of me. And I'm like, cool. Oh, perfect. I do have 5 minutes for this call where I can help this person not kill themselves.
Yeah.
You know, it's just, there's always things just line up, and by the end of the day, I'm fulfilled. My cup is filled.
A happy person doesn't have to try to be happy. He is happy, you know?
Yeah. I exactly. I had to make myself happy from.
Or that was the example, but like to be somebody that is edifying or, you know, strong or a good father or anything, like, it's not like I have to sit there and try. I just am simply. And like your day's just filling up. That's one of the fruits of the Spirit.
Exactly.
Finally, do you feel like you were chosen or cursed?
Chosen.
Chosen.
Mm-hmm.
Why is that?
It's the work that I do.
Yeah.
Power that I still have. It's weird. It's an energy thing. And I feel like because I've fought in front of 40,000 people on more than one occasion, absorbed all this. The MMA community loved me so much. So much. I feel so bad, the performances and shit show that I gave and how I just disappeared once it was over. Because I hated MMA so much, you know, I hated it. Even though it's not MMA's fault that I was a, you know, bad version of myself. But
has that answer changed? So like at maybe like the worst moments you were like, oh, I'm cursed to live this life.
No. I always knew it was special. I knew that you know, sometimes I couldn't catch a break, but I knew that was my own fault.
Yeah.
It was no one else's fault but my own. So yeah, I mean, this knowing that I've been blessed and I have a divine purpose is important, because look at the people that I work with. You know, whether it's my SEAL team guy or it's, you know, the spiritual advisors we have, that, you know, the fact that we somehow tied in with the Vatican. We're blessed by that. I don't say tied in. We don't work with them. But, you know, like, this is true purpose. You know, and the fact that on a weekly basis, someone texts me or calls me and tells me they love me, and then I save their life. I'm like, I love you too, and I just helped you save your own life. Because, you know, it's just leading people through the same strokes that I went through. You know, it's not that hard. My life is really not that hard. If anybody makes it more difficult, it's me. You know, so.
I love that. Love that. If there's anything, what's your companies? Where can people find you, help you?
Biomotion Labs, Peptides. And then you have Athlete's Journey Home, which is the nonprofit in our research. Eventually, we will be studying the peptides. It's just very expensive, so we'll get there. It's, you know, we're not ready as a company, but we'll actually have real data on how peptides actually work.
Yeah.
It's just like we did with psychedelics. I have to prove that this isn't theoretical. From there, yeah, that's it. Just go pay attention if you guys want to donate to athletes who need help, or if you have any athletes with traumatic brain injury issues, send them my way. And they don't have to be athletes, actually. They can be anybody. If grandma has Alzheimer's or Parkinson's, we can fix that. We fixed Mike Guyman, a friend of mine, 8 years of Parkinson's. 1 dose of Ibogaine, about 15 hours after he took it, hasn't had a tremor since. So there's a lot of good stuff out there, people.
Wow.
Yeah, anyone who has issues, please send them away. Look me up on Instagram. It's Ian McCall, Athlete's Journey Home, or Biomotion Labs. I love you guys, and have a good one.
Love you guys. Take care. It's been Op Talk.
So you got the cross, right?
Yes. We're going to have to talk about everything.